You're listening to the State Street Midweek Update. Hello, everyone. Good to have you with us. It's been a while since we've had a midweek update here at State Street Community Church and the PAC Center and all the things that we're doing. But we wanted to take some time to connect with you about kind of what's happening here at State Street and in our organization. Lots of good things, even in spite of the pandemic and things like that. But before I go any further, I do want to, again, welcome you for listening, whether you're listening live with us here on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, or you are listening to the podcast afterwards through our mobile app or whatever. Glad to have you with us. For the next half hour, we'll talk a little bit about what's happening, what has happened, and maybe laugh a little bit, talk about some spiritual things and things like that. But we're glad to have you. I'm going to add here my friend and your friend, the heart and soul of what we do here at State Street.
Wow.
Becky Crane. You know, I say nicer things about you every time because that one time you said I'm mean. So
is it easier like through the computer than in person? Because it seems like you don't say nice things to me in person.
Now people are going to think I'm mean. I'm not mean. I'm not mean. I'm just...
No,
I'm a little. My sister would say I'm very little brothery, and that's
absolutely yes. That would nail it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm a picker. My wife would say I pick, and only because I care, right? So, but anyway, how are you doing this week, Beck?
I'm good. I am. I'm good. It's been a good day. The sun went away, which made me a little sad, but you know, I love this time of year.
Yeah, I love the fall. Don't love the perma-cloud. I was able to get some yard work done yesterday, which got me right back with the world again. I honestly, I'm one of those people that loves to do yard work. I love working outside just because most of my job is doing this, sitting down, things like that. So when I get to be active outside and make a little piece of the world right again, it kind of helps me mentally and emotionally and spiritually, all those kind of things. So it was good. At the end of it, I got to see what I did and see that my yard is a lot cleaner.
See that you made progress.
Yeah, exactly.
I went to the park this morning with my dog and took my dog for a walk by myself, and it was nice.
Do you worry when you go to the park by yourself? Because I've had people be like, well, you can't as a woman go to by yourself. But I mean, are you really that worried?
No.
Okay.
No.
Is it,
there's enough people on trails and stuff.
Should you be? Do you walk with Mace?
I have my dog.
Oh, all right. That's true. Here's the thing. I always wake up every day, probably almost every day, and think this is the day I'm going to walk with my dog somewhere. And every day, I convince myself not to. So kudos to you for walking your dog.
Walks a lot. I actually take her a lot because, well, she just looks at me with that face. Mm-hmm. And she comes and boops me she boops me in the butt to tell me she wants to go for a walk. And then I fall for it because she's so sweet. She's got the sweetest face.
Hey, Joe, we got Joe Ruiz watching with us. Hey, buddy boy, I miss you. I miss seeing that little cute Puerto Rican bald head of yours. Hopefully when this COVID thing's done again, we can be friends once again.
During COVID?
No, I've ended all my friendships until COVID's over. I can't trust people.
You can't take the emotional ups and downs.
Yeah, no, I can't trust that you're taking the COVID seriously. So I've ended all my friendships until the COVID is over. But anyway, I don't even talk to my kids right now. So, Rebecca, turn off your phone.
Sorry.
What are you doing? All right. Anyway, we have a good show today. We got some things that we want to talk about that's happening. But before we get into any of that stuff, before we get into the question of the week, before we get into our volunteer appreciation, before we get into what's happening around our organization, let's do happy birthdays. We don't have many of them, but we do have some of them. No anniversaries. Clearly, nobody wants to get married in late October or early November. But anyway, we have we do have 4 birthdays to get to, and so let's get these birthdays announced. If you want to add your name to our birthday or anniversary list, let us know. We will get you added to our list. It means a lot to us. We love to celebrate with you, your birthday or your kid's birthday or your anniversary. It's a big deal. And so happy birthday goes out to our friend, Chris Eldridge. Happy birthday, Chris.
Happy birthday.
What a great greeter. What a great volunteer. Happy birthday, Quinn Saby. Happy
birthday.
Happy birthday. I haven't seen Bill Redmond. He's emailed me a couple times, but I haven't seen you in a while, buddy. I miss you. Happy birthday, Bill Redmond.
Happy birthday.
And happy birthday, Morgan Deckard. I hope you have a great birthday this coming week. And it's filled with lots of joy in the midst of the chaos. Happy birthday. All right. So we have our question of the week. And this is a time where we just ask a question. We want to hear from you. Get some comments in our YouTube or Facebook feed. This is a question that we want you to know, or want to hear from you, as well as Pastor Becky and I. We will share what our answer as well. But I'd love to hear from you. Our question of the week this week is: what is something you genuinely don't understand, even though someone has tried to explain it? So it might be something simple. Someone's tried to explain to you how to do something, or tried to explain to you a concept that's difficult or whatever, or seemingly difficult, but it's not to them. But you just can't put your mind around it. But you tried. What is something you genuinely don't understand, even though someone has tried to explain it? Becky Crane, what is it?
So, I'm sorry. I can't turn it. It's on my computer. I can't stop it.
Headphones, Becky. Headphones. God,
anyway.
Amateur. I'm surrounded by amateurs around here.
Maybe it's just a happy, I don't know. Anyway, mine's kind of unique to me. And I know this is maybe not this of what you were asking for, but the thing that I thought of when you asked this question, something I generally don't understand, even though someone has tried to explain it, is my husband Joel's job. I think I can actually explain fairly well what your husband does. People always could understand, and they could talk their lingo.
The banking lingo.
But every time he tries to explain to me what he does, my eyes kind of glaze over.
Is there part of it that, as much as you love Joel, and who doesn't? Look at that cute little face of his. But is it because partially you're not interested?
Probably. I can tell you about the people that he works with, but
you're more interested in those, right? You're more interested on the stories of the people than you are.
One of the things that probably annoys him more than anything is when people ask what he does, and I say he's kind of like Chandler on Friends, where nobody really knows what he does, and he says, "I'm nothing like Chandler on Friends. Chandler does blah, 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 and I do blah, 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 blah." And I said, well, see, the very fact that you can tell me the difference tells me that you are like Chandler on Friends.
Yeah. That's a good, I think that's a good analogy for Joel. He is a little Chandlery. So, but anyway, I think I can explain a little bit about what your husband does, but it is very specific in the banking world, and it has to deal with a lot of banking regulations on the global scale. So it's trying to stay on top of, as everyone knows, in America, banking regulations change, these kind of things. But if you're a global company, like Joel's company that he works for, they not only have to stay on top of the American banking regulations, they have to stay on top of the banking regulations all around the world. And so part of Joel's job is making sure that his job, his bank is aligned with all of the regulations in the geopolitical banking world. So
I started to glaze over again.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But I'm really fascinated by that because I like to know countries that have different banking rules. But yeah, it's very specific. So so my thing is, and I'm this might seem ridiculous that I'm even saying this, but I'm telling you, I've spent countless hours trying to understand this because I feel like a fraud, not having the wherewithal to understand it. And it's like one of those things where I've literally read books on this and I've tried and articles, all of these things. I cannot understand the multiverse to save my life. Not like the mechanisms of it. Right. I don't understand it. Right. Like I just don't get it.
Yeah. I think you're alone in that one.
Yeah. And like, but what gets me is I'm trying so hard. Like I'm literally, I want to understand it. And everyone explains to me, you know what else I can't understand? And even though people have explained it to me, the expanding of the universe, I don't understand what it's expanding into. I don't get that. And I know everyone's like, oh, come on, that's a dumb question, dummy. No, I don't get it. Because I feel like it has to expand into something. Everyone's like, no, it's like a balloon. Think of a balloon. That doesn't help. It doesn't help at all. Like, I don't get it.
That's when you go, oh, yeah. Sure.
No, that's what I've done for so much of my life, for so many issues. Like I fake my way through most of life, but I don't get those things. So I want to hear from you guys. What is something you genuinely don't understand? Even though someone has tried to explain it to you. Here's one we have from Mike Warner, who says programming code. State Street's own Johnny Noble Bamus Schultz is learning programming right now, and I think it's very, very, very hard. I don't understand it either, but I'm not a math guy. And programming language is based on just kind of math. Alyssa Carlson says storing things in quote unquote the cloud. What is this cloud you speak of? Where is this cloud? Right? My theory is, Alyssa, that we call it the cloud because nobody will feel safe when you say you're storing it on somebody else's computer, because that's essentially what you're doing. That's the cloud. You're storing it on somebody else's computer. And it's typically owned by a large corporation like Google, or Amazon. Here's another response here from our comments. From Amy Warner, how mechanical things work, like my car or TV or computer. I don't know how it works. I just know that it does. And that's the nice thing. And Amy has a maintenance guy that is living with her right now, named Mike, and he gets to fix things all the time. So good for you. I hope everyone has somebody like that in their life that can fix it. Here's a good one by our friend Joe. People enjoying Almond Joys / Mounds. You don't understand it. I will tell you this, Joseph Ruiz, my wife's favorite candy bar is an Almond Joy, and I don't get it. Yeah. I don't get it. It's disgusting. Yeah. My son Finley has that genetic thing where he also likes the coconut and stuff like that, and it's just I like a good like a German chocolate cake that has coconut on it. I'm not like a monster, but I'm not a big fan of
that. Is the thing that defines monster these days.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So again, if you are watching this later, even if you stream with us later and we're done with the live portion of it, I'd love to hear from you. What is something that somebody has tried to explain it to you, but for the life of you, you can't understand it. And you've tried, and you just don't get it. All right. Next portion here is one of my favorite things we do is our volunteer appreciation here at the PAC Center and the State Street Community Church and our gardens and green space in the preschool. Truly, volunteers are the lifeblood of our organization. We have for the size of organization that we are, between all that we do, we have a very small staff, and our volunteers really are essential to everything that we do. And so we like to spend some time just recognizing our different volunteers that do all the great work that happens here in our organization. So, Pastor Becky, who do you got this week?
I want to take a minute and thank a volunteer who's actually following us right now and listening. That's Amy Warner. Amy, a lot of people don't know this, but does a lot of our stage design over the years. And we haven't gotten to do a lot of that lately when, moving to streaming and then coming back, we kind of pulled back. But we've been talking this week about what's coming up for Christmas. And she's so thoughtful always about going into these things, and she's very passionate about it, and that shows, and she always does such a good job, and I'm very appreciative of that. And then she also started to volunteer in the coffee shop as well, so double duty there. But with the Christmas season coming up and something that we're working towards, I appreciate her voice and her work, quite frankly, that she does there.
Yeah, and you mentioned Christmas there. People might not realize we're actually having conversations here about our Christmas stuff. And of course, it's even more difficult this year because the COVID and stuff like that. And, not knowing, if we should do, in person or online and stuff like that. Obviously, we'll always have it online, but doing all that kind of stuff. But all of that stuff happens months in advance. And so we already started talking about Christmas and stuff here, and Amy does do a great job. She makes our Christmas season seem a lot more Christmassy around here, and I love Amy for that. It's
imperative that I listen to Christmas music for those very reasons too.
Yeah. Were you listening today or no?
No,
Is that what I heard you?
I was not listening to them, but I was yesterday.
Yeah. Maybe our question next week will be, because we'll be in November and we can officially start Christmas music season, what's our favorite Christmas music album? But anyway, mine is, I don't remember if I've already said this person, which I should be writing them down. And I didn't. But anyway, I wanted to thank, because the season is over and we're not mowing anymore, I wanted to thank Tom Stoller, who, again, this year and has for the last couple of years, who I guarantee you is not watching this, because I don't know if Tom even knows that the internet exists yet. But I do want to publicly thank him, though, because he does all of our mowing and he volunteers doing it. And Becky, you've probably seen him before, too. It'll be like sprinkling or raining, and he's out there getting it done. And it could be 100 degrees, or it could be raining, and the guy is he just gets it done. And so grateful for him and what he does here at State Street to make our yard and everything look great, and it does. So thanks again, Tom Stoller, for everything you do for us. All right, next section here is last Sunday. So we are in a series called Make Peace, and we are talking here at State Street about not how we can kind of be peacekeepers, but how we can actually be peacemakers. In the scriptures, Jesus says, blessed are the peacemakers, which is where actually the name the PAX Center comes from. Is PAX is Latin for peace, and we believe that feeding the hungry and loving those who are lonely and these kind of poverty and emotional relief kind of organizations are actually making peace. They're not keeping peace. They're actually taking a broken situation in a community and a struggling situation and being a part of making peace there. And so peacemaking is an essential component to who we are, but we don't often know how to deal with conflict. We talk about peacemaking, but I think even in like interpersonal conflict, which is clearly in abundance right now because of the political season, people just genuinely don't know how to deal with disagreement well. Would you agree with that, Beck?
1,000,000% yes.
I mean, do you think, because we've talked about this a little bit, do you think as a whole, do you think Christians are more committed to this process of reconciliation and learning how to deal with conflict? Because I mentioned this last week. dealing with conflict for Christians anyway should be a natural spiritual event that we feel somewhat comfortable with. Yeah. Why is it that you don't? I don't think that's true. I don't think you think that's true, that we do feel that way. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think maybe sometimes because it feels like the stakes are really high. Like, let me figure out how to explain.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Because we take our faith so seriously that if someone is coming at us with a different perspective that we're not ready to hear, that seems foreign to us, it seems almost it's hard for us to say, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to, be more open to listen, because I think for so many people, they've, their faith is built on so many years of what they've learned in that foundation. And they feel like if any little bit changes, then it's going to, crumble, which is unfortunate, because I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all. And from my own experience of deconstructing my faith and evolving in my faith and trying to figure out what that looks like as the world changes around me and as I change, I don't think that's true. I think God's bigger than that, stronger than that. I think our faith it becomes even stronger when we are able to listen and push back on disagreements, and even maybe sometimes come around and change our mind. I don't think that's a bad thing, but I think for a lot of people, it's really a scary thing. And we do a lot of things out of fear. When we're operating from a place of fear, we're not our best selves. So.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I think too, and we've been talking about in this sermon series, how we kind of deal with conflict reveals what we value, right? And I'm not sure that for many of us that we value reconciliation. I think sometimes we've learned to value rightness, or we've learned to value strength more than we've learned to value peace. And I can tell you, I mean, as we know, when we talk about the virtues of Jesus and the fruit of the Spirit, not that all of us want to be right, or we want to believe good and true things. But I think most of us are humble enough to know that we've been wrong enough to admit that we should be humble enough going forward, that the things that we hold now, we hold with an open hand and not a closed fist.
Right.
And to admit then, so if that's the truth, and we are not necessarily right about everything, and we get things wrong, and we do evolve in what we believe and know, we should then value reconciliation even more, because the thing that we're fighting about right now might not be the thing that we believe in the future. I just know no path.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay.
As I say, I just don't think God's that fragile. We treat God so fragile. Like, if this is wrong, then the whole thing's going to come crashing down. I'm like, is it though? I think God's not that fragile.
I do think we sometimes feel like we have to be the protectors of God, and we certainly don't. And any time the church has tried to be the protector of God has brought forth really ugly ideas and really ugly things. But anyway, so that's what we've been talking about. I did want to read real quick a quote for you, because we are going through a book. This series is based on a book that we read by Dr. John Paul Lederach, who is a professor, I think, in the Peace Studies department at Notre Dame. And a quote that I read this week that I really wanted to kind of share with those who are watching through the podcast, our Midweek Update podcast, because it's I think a good quote, regardless of if you're religious or not. But reconciliation is the mission of the church. Working on conflict is spiritual. And Lederach goes on to say, it involves an encounter with ourselves, others, and God. Thus, we begin to understand that reconciliation is about the transformation of people and their relationships. It means change, moving from isolation, distance, pain, and fear toward restoration, understanding, and growth. As shown often in the biblical stories, the basic purpose of God acting in history is reconciliation. As it says in Colossians 1, all things are being brought together. And so anyway, wherever you're at and whatever you're thinking right now, I hope that you, in this political season and in this very tumultuous kind of rhetorical type of season we're in right now with COVID-19 and all these things, I hope that you've learned to value relationships in ways that reconciliation is a key component to moving forward as a human. Because as Christians anyway, we believe that ultimately God is bringing us forward to reconcile us to everything. And we don't live that out well, but we believe that that's the ultimate goal. So anything else there, Beck?
Nope. That's good.
All right. This coming week, Make Peace continues. We're going to be in Acts 15. One of my favorite texts to preach, because it is about the Jerusalem Council, and I talk about that quite a bit in sermons, because it's a text that really introduces, in the New Testament anyway, a group of well-meaning, faithful people who disagree and how to deal with that. And they disagreed on what I would consider very important points, and yet they still had to figure out a way to go forward, as we often do today as well. So things happening right now in our organization, Stage Street. We have a class tonight. In the next 3 weeks, including tonight, we have a class on mindful silence. Beck, I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but can you give just a real brief summary of what this class is kind of about?
It's so far, last week, was our first week. It's really about being able to connect to the presence of God in our lives and to slow down and find practices that allow us to do that. Because I do think part of it is slowing down sometimes,
I think you're right.
Being intentional in the way that we go about life and taking time, intentionality to try to understand the presence of God in this world, and the way that it's working in our lives and how that affects and changes us.
Yeah, we've had 1 week, and I really enjoyed last week. I'm looking forward to tonight. If you want to come, you're welcome to come. We are in the State Street Community Church Sanctuary, socially distanced away from each other. It's free. There's nothing you have to read beforehand or anything. Just come if you'd like for the next 3 weeks, and we'd love to have you here at State Street, 5:30 to 7 on Thursday nights. The PAC Center, we are going to we're talking about our Thanksgiving meal. We always do a big Thanksgiving Eve meal this coming year because we can't have a big group of people. We usually have 400 plus people at this meal, and we usually have it at State Street. This year, we're going to do to-goes like we've been doing our community meal, and we're going to do it at the PAC Center. I'll put out all that information on our Facebook page and everything pretty soon. But just to let you know, we will have that at the PAC Center. Becky, do you want to announce any of our sign-up stuff yet or no?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're starting signups this weekend. If you're here at church in person, there will be signups at the welcome desk. Nate's going to be putting signups through our app so that you can do that if you're not here in person. But right now, the signups are for food. So if you want to volunteer to cook a turkey, we do provide a turkey. That means that you're going to cook that turkey, carve it up and bring it to the PAC Center the day of the meal, which is the day before Thanksgiving. If you want to sign up to bake a ham, that is something that you purchase on your own, and then you bake the ham, and then same thing, cut it up, bring it to the PAC Center that day. And then desserts. We always need a lot of desserts, so asking people to make pies, cakes, crumbles. Nate's a big fan of the crumbles.
Anything with apple. Anything with apple, I love.
Like, pumpkin pie, pecan pie, all those things. If you're willing to make or even just buy, you can buy some pies and drop them off at the PAC Center that day. And so, like I said, we will have in-person signups at church on Sunday, starting Sunday. And we really only have a few weeks to get the signups going because we'll be passing out the turkeys, having them available that Sunday before Thanksgiving. And it's coming up faster than we realized. But if you're not here in person and you still want to help, you can sign up through our app or send us a message, and we'd be happy to sign you up as well. Yeah,
we'll put all that stuff online. So if you're streaming with us at home still and you want to be a part of this, we'll get that information out to you so you can do that. Other than that, the PAC Center is going well. We were pretty busy yesterday. Pastor Becky and I are there usually on Wednesdays, and we were pretty busy yesterday. And we seem, I checked the numbers. We still have a day today. Actually, Saturday's the 31st, I think. So we've got another day on Saturday. So it wouldn't shock me if we're close to 800 people helped at the food pantry this month. We were at 711 when I checked this morning before food pantry today, and we still have today and then Thursday, or we had today. I didn't check the numbers, but so anyway, it's picking up, getting busier. Our community meals are very busy, and so if you would like to know more about the PAC Center, just reach out. We'd love to tell you more about what we do. Brighton Street, we have the floor poured for the pavilion now. If you've stopped by there, it's a big floor that we've got. We don't have money to build the pavilion yet, so I'll be raising money for that and giving Tuesday funds and stuff like that. But it's coming together. I want to again thank you, Neil Loucks and Ben Mannix and everyone else. That's Bubba, who's we got a neighbor guy that's helping us over there as well, volunteering their time and their energy. Thank you so much for that. Jackson Street's done for the year. We'll do signups after the first of the year if you want to garden with us at Jackson Street. And the preschool had a Halloween party today. I didn't get to see them in their costumes.
So cute.
I didn't get to see them in their costumes, but I did find the Halloween candy hidden in the dark hallway. Yeah, it's not hidden real well, but I did find it. I did go. I'll say this: I went looking for it, and I found it.
I'm here to see the costumes because I wanted to see them in their costumes because they're so cute.
Yeah, they are. They're doing well. Our teachers are doing well. Good job, Miss Kathy. Good job, Miss Danita. Thank you to our volunteers for that. Our kids are wearing masks. They're doing a good job separating and doing what they need to do to keep this school year going. So thank you so much to our preschool teachers and leaders and students for that because they're doing a great job. Finally, this is our last section. This is our section where we share with the group. Maybe you've read something or you are watching something on TV that you really like. Maybe it's a book, maybe it's an article. Put it in the comments. We'd love to see it. We call this show and tell. But if you watch, listen to, or read that you want to share with the group. And Pastor Becky, I'll let you go first. What do you want to share?
Mine is, surprise, surprise, a podcast. I know I'm always sharing podcasts, but I take a lot of information in that way. This is an actual series by Kelly Corrigan. She's the author of the book Tell Me More. And she has a podcast series called Wonder. Wonder or Wonders. I think it's Wonders. And this she has others, but this particular series I was really drawn to because she looks at kind of questions that have become platitudes and then asks those questions. Is that really a thing? And she's got some great guests on there. She had Kate Bowler, that's how you say that, right, in this series, and Nadia Boltz-Weber. And they talk about questions or sayings like everything happens for a reason, or don't give up. I mean, is that always the case? Should you really never give up? And the last one is what you don't know can't hurt you. And just examining if those are really true. And maybe a lot of the things that we say, there's more to it than that. And it's just really good discussion. And she's just a really good person. She's a good human being, and I like listening to her. So,
what's her name again?
Kelly Corrigan.
Chloe Corrigan?
Kelly.
Kelly
okay. Corrigan.
All right. And the podcast is called what? Wonders.
It's Kelly Corrigan Wonders. Like she's wondering about these, the things she wonders.
Oh, nice. Gotcha. Okay. I think I did find it. So I'll put it in the links for everyone. If you'd like to find out more, I just shared it. You can download it, the podcast, or find out more about it. I'm looking forward to listening to that back. Thanks. I wanted to share an article I had put on my personal Facebook earlier this week, but it's called it was heard on All Things Considered on NPR, and the article is called "Dude, I'm Done: When Politics Tears Family and Friendships Apart." And I'm seeing a lot of and hearing a lot of families and friendships that politics in this season has really put a lot of strain and damage on. And it's unfortunate. And obviously we're right around the holidays, as elections always are. And I hope and pray that, we can learn to reconcile with people who might believe differently, and that just because someone believes differently than you, politically or religiously or whatever, doesn't mean that they're your enemy. And so I'm going to share this article in the comments as well. Hopefully you'll like it as well. If nothing else, I think I resonated with a lot of what I see right now. And it's happening, if we can be honest, in the church right now. We have people here at State Street, and we talk to friends of ours who are upset about, either somebody came in and there was one person or two people that didn't have a mask on because of maybe, a condition or whatever, even though 90% did. And then we have people that are upset because 90% did have masks on, and why are we forcing masks? And it's just, everyone's kind of mad right now. And I hope we work on getting over our anxiety and our anger, and we work on doing a better job at figuring out how to be better peacemakers. And so anyway, I put that in the comments. You're welcome to read it if you want. I've got nothing else. Beck, you got anything else? Oh, I do have something else. Sorry. One more thing. From Taylor Emmons, our children's director here at State Street. She wanted me to share with you that our first service, our 8:30 service now has nursery, toddler, and preschool. Okay, so nursery, toddler, and preschool. If you have a nursery, toddler, or preschooler, you're welcome to put them in children's ministry at first 8:30. And our second service has nursery and toddler. So if you have a preschooler and you want a place to put them, that's now open on Sunday morning. We're continuing to open more classes and things like this as we get more volunteers that are comfortable with volunteering. Obviously, we'll have masks on, these kind of things, but we want to provide that service and provide that opportunity for your kids as well. We know there are some people that are wanting to get back to church. They're just waiting on, children's ministry and things like that. So I wanted you to know, 8:30 now, starting this weekend, nursery, toddler, and preschool. 10:30 is nursery and toddler. So that's it. You got anything else, Beck?
No, sir.
All right, everyone. Hey, thanks so much for listening. We love you guys. We'll see you on Sunday at State Street, or we'll see you tonight at our study here at church in the sanctuary. We'll see you at a PAC Center, food pantry, our community meal. We'll see you out and about. We care for you. Have a great week. Take care of yourself and take care of others. God loves you. Bye.